Hi everyone, this is my branding project for Portiko Technologies. I started with this idea of Portiko opening doors for its clients, so I wanted the logo to embody that in an abstract way. I was looking at other logos for technology companies and they all seem to have this flat, two-dimensional look, which I think works for them. When I started with this logo, however, I didn't think that worked for me. So I started with this blue circle with a rectangle overlaid here. I used the Pathfinder tool to have that rectangle cut out of the circle, and I had this two-dimensional depiction of what was supposed to look like a door being opened for the client. Honestly, the logo was a little dull looking to me, so I started playing with the pen tool a little bit and ended up drawing in this part of the door as if the door was really being opened back and you could see the door and into the ceiling of the room you'd be going into. Once I did that, I thought this logo took on another life and definitely became more interesting and something you would look at twice, and I think that's important for a logo. So that's how I got the blue icon that you see. In terms of the type, I wanted to use a slab serif because I thought it would be like a clean, modern, but bold look for the company name. Normally, I favor sans serifs, so this was a little out of the box for me, but I thought it would work well. So what I wanted out of the slab serif is something that looked pretty basic, but had a little subtle uniqueness to it. So I ended up going with this one called Bree Serif, B-R-E-E Serif, and I thought it looked like an average sans serif, and I really liked this subtle, unique curve to the K, which I thought went really well with the curve in this corner of where the open door meets the circle. So I thought that just worked very nicely together. Now the word technologies didn't have to be as prominent as Portiko, so I went with a lighter grade sans serif, again with a little bit of a subtle uniqueness with the G not having that crossbar. So that's how I came up with the logo. It can be used stacked like this, it can be used inline like this. I didn't do the black and white version yet, and I didn't do a lighter version for darker backgrounds. But what this logo lends itself to is if different facets of the company emerge in the future, you can just change the color of the blue icon. So let's say green meant something or yellow meant something, and you can kind of have an array of the same logo for different departments. Moving to the business card, I wanted to use that same open door idea and have that be a prominent feature of the business card while still keeping it clean and modern. So I ended up just doing a major zoom in on that part of the icon and having half the business card look like that open door image. I used the Bree serif for the person's name and this Portiko blue color for the name as well. The name, since that's the most differentiating factor on the business card, I think should have been the most prominent, which is what I was going for. And then I used font size, and font weight hierarchy to use the same sans serif as technologies to establish the information on the rest of the card. I originally put the Portiko logo on the front with this design, but I thought it was a little overbearing and a little too much of the same thing. So I decided to put the logo on the back, keep the back nice and clean, and have the back universally the same for everyone in the company. So that's how we ended up with the business card like this. Moving on to the letterhead, I had two designs in mind. This first one is for when an initial contact is made from Portiko. So this would be the first interaction the company has with a potential client or even a recently signed client. The logo is pretty prominent here. It uses the inline logo along with the contact information directly under it. And it leaves a lot of space for any type of content you would need. My goal with this was to allow a lot of white space so you could fit a lot of content and not sacrifice the overall clean aesthetic of the page. I think not looking crowded is a good way to create a nice clean first impression. As Portiko got familiar with its clients and the clients got familiar with Portiko, I think less emphasis needs to be placed on the word part of the logo. And I think by doing this, we create more of a brand to go behind the open door icon. So the goal in this letterhead, which would be for communications happening with a regular client that has a history of working with Portiko, is to really bring attention to the icon logo, and you still need all the other information, but to have it be a less prominent role. So by this point, the client should recognize, oh, this is the icon I'm seeing, this is from Portiko. Again, we keep white space ample, allowing for that clean aesthetic to be maintained. Moving on to the web page, this is what I have so far. This will probably be changed drastically. I was going for, again, a nice, clean, spacious look. I don't think, however, this layout lends itself to being mobily adaptable. I think having the menu, I was playing with the menu on the side because I thought it'd be a little different looking, but having it across the top with the inline Portiko logo might just be the better move, especially when transitioning to the mobile part. The favicon, I use the open door icon, again, to drive that point home. I think it looks pretty good at a small size. On print, I think it came out fine when I did some test prints. I know a lot of the branding for this is digital. I didn't want to sacrifice anything about the logo just to make the favicon clearer. So for the most part, I think it's okay. Again, I think the website is what's going to be overhauled the most. Other than that, everything is pretty much set. It'll just need a little last minute massaging before it would be ready to be submitted. But yeah, that is my Portiko branding project. Thank you.